I think I got an insider tip here from Dave Portnoy's Twitter.
You have an insider tip. The info got to you, Josh, before Goldman Sachs.
You know, I bought into GameStop a couple days after it became a national news story, and I thought to myself, yeah, this has got to go higher. Just waited for the smart money to get in, bought here. Then when it's just about to hit the bottom, I can't take it anymore. You know, rice paper hands, and that's my sell point.
You have day trader in your bio now?
Then it usually starts to go up again. Second dose of FOMO hits. I'm not going to miss it this time. Enjoy the second ride down and sell the bags.
Josh seems to have the magical ability to predict a stock crash based on when he buys it.
You know, for me, it wasn't really about the money. It was about sticking it to the big guys by letting other big guys take my money.
I mean, it should be a little bit about making money.
Well, you pay for your hobby of doing yoga. What's the difference?
Yeah, I didn't take a mortgage out on our house to do yoga.
You know, being manipulated by the mainstream media is really bad for your financial future. I bet that guy watches a lot of CNN. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Radowski of WeAreChange.org. And man, do we have a very important story for you today. As of course, the information that we were telling you close to over a year now on this YouTube channel is now being poorly regurgitated by the mainstream media. A conspiracy theory is becoming a conspiracy truth. We're going to be talking about that, the larger implications, and also what the mainstream media is missing here, since they seem never to do an accurate job. A lot of them just focus on trivial, meaningless distractions and bullcrap that push the larger divide and conquer agenda, as perfectly represented by this Washington Post piece, which they're proudly promoting with the byline saying, quote, "Masks are off, which means men will start telling women to smile again." This also perfectly represents how prostitutes of the horse stream media are utterly miserable people that need to spread their misery in order to feel better. When you start understanding it from that psychological perspective, a lot of things absolutely make sense, and we're going to be talking about that plus a lot more. But before we do, the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast is, of course, just a small sample of the full video that Ryan Long released today. The link to his channel is down below in the description, so you could watch it after this video. He definitely deserves a lot more subscribers than he has for the amazing content that he keeps putting together. Now, in yesterday's video, we did a full expose about the sweetheart deal of a lifetime that two prison guards got from the federal government, who were given a slap on the wrist and some community service for playing a significant role in silencing and getting rid of Jeffrey Epstein. And in hindsight here, I think one of the questions that we should be asking that no one's really asking is, who told these guards to lie and falsify the records? That was not answered during these important court proceedings, and yet still highlights a very important perspective about how absolutely corrupt our entire system is, and is capable of doing the most horrible, unspeakable things on the face of the earth. And that these are the same people that want more control of your everyday life with, quote, new laws and rules that they literally make up out of thin air. And in totally unrelated news, we have Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi just recently coming out and proposing that if lawmakers don't take a medical procedure that she wants them to take, or don't wear masks, that they should be banned from the House floor. We have seen similar intrusive Orwellian proposals being put forward by states like Oregon that is mandating that people will have to show proof of their medical procedure if they want to enter a business or facility without a mask on. Businesses who, quote, don't check for this medical procedure, violating HIPAA laws, will of course be extorted to maintain a mask mandate in the state of Oregon right now. This also expands to churches and other public gatherings. This after the World Economic Forum just put out a call that employers should fire their employees if they didn't get this specific medical procedure that is not FDA approved that they want them to take. Yes, the World Economic Forum literally was urging people to get fired for not taking this specific medical procedure, a public call which of course they later deleted after massive backlash. It's also important to note here that the World Economic Forum also deleted their Welcome to 2030 post, where they said you would own nothing, have no privacy, and life would be never better. That article has been deleted. as of course many people saw this as a blueprint for many of the heavy-handed lockdowns, restrictions, and mandate policies that were put in by mainly Democratic governments. So seeing this push by the World Economic Forum and having some governments listen to it, obey it as if it was an order, doesn't really surprise us, even though the World Economic Forum tried to delete it along with their articles to make us forget about it. But here at wearechange.org, we don't forget. As of course, we are a fully independent media organization that relies on your support, and whether it's cryptocurrencies, Venmo, Cash App, checking out some of our products, physical mail, your support is absolutely essential to the continuation of this broadcast. And because you do, I sincerely can't thank you enough for all the help, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. You guys are awesome. You guys are incredible. I'm soon going to be launching some kind of forum or social media on LukeUncensored.com where we could talk to each other. In today's video, which will only go exclusively to LukeUncensored.com, I have a lot of very important things to talk about. As there's now a massive push to ban a supplement that has already been taken off Amazon, the FDA is looking at banning it. We're going to be talking about that supplement on LukeUncensored.com. We can't even mention the drug that many people are attributing to the numbers in India going dramatically down, but we could say and do whatever we want on LukeUncensored.com, which we will right after this video. Now, from the very beginning of last year's sickness, we always heard the terms trust the science. It's been used, it's been reinforced to kind of indoctrinate people to go along and not question things that the establishment tells them to do, even though the study of science is a study that also has questions, has thesis, has hypotheses, has experiments, and in its own meaning is a process of testing, finding out, asking questions, and experimenting. And that Orwellian, duplicitous statement, when used by the mainstream media, has time and time again been proven absolutely bunk, and predominantly has been used against anyone questioning the narrative and the larger agenda that's being pushed on everyone. And there's no better example than this, than the latest information that we're getting right now from the Wuhan lab origin story that, of course, we were talking about from the very beginning of the sickness last year to you on this YouTube channel. And it's coming out that more independent journalists keep getting it right, while the mainstream media journalists keep getting it wrong. The science keeps changing. PolitiFact, that attacked people disingenuously for even talking about this. PolitiFact, that abused their power, that expressed their opinion as if it was fact on this matter a year ago, now just issued a retraction after their supposed debunking of conspiracy theories that is coming out to be more and more plausible of an understanding of what actually happened here. And this matters, and this is significant here on many levels, as we're going to get into it in just a little bit. But because of this, quote, PolitiFact, we have to understand that many independent journalists, many media organizations, the few people in mainstream media that actually decided to question the narrative, all got retroactively hit by the big tech hammer with censorship, deplatforming, downranking in the algorithm, and essentially punished for talking about something that now the media establishment is admitting that they were wrong about from the very beginning. We even have this Wall Street Journal article that says, quote, intelligence on sick staff at Wuhan lab fuels debate on origin of sickness. Every person that was banned, every news organization, every personality that was taken off the internet for talking about this needs to be reinstated immediately if big tech actually cared about the truth. But they don't care about the truth. They care about their agenda, their narrative. Now their agenda, now their narrative is cracking, and it's unfolding to be based on utter crap, because people are starting to ask questions like, hey, how could this all start from a dude eating a bat? How is it possible that a dude shoving a bat down his pie hole created all of this? And on the basic understanding of this, that's nonsensical. It doesn't make sense at all. It's idiotic. It's naive. And anyone who questioned it would face massive pushback, including us. And there was a concerted effort to punish anyone who didn't believe the official story. This should be a perfect lesson why big tech censorship is absolutely wrong, and it needs to stop immediately, because the establishment, the mainstream media, is the quote, medical professionals don't get it right, just like they didn't get it right with this, and they didn't get it right with so many other things before this. There was scientists, there was experts, there was professionals, there was researchers coming together and saying, hey, there's a lot of information, there's a lot of data suggesting the fact that this sickness did originate in the level 3 Wuhan laboratory that was funded by U.S. tax-paying dollars under the orders of Dr. Fauci, that was doing dangerous gain-of-function research that had absolutely no medical purpose at all or scientific purpose at all, that was specifically using the horseshoe bat with the Conholio sickness, trying to make it as dangerous as they could, trying to make it as powerful and as capable as it could be to infect human beings. This is the specific research that they were doing. According to the science, this sickness came from this particular bat, which wasn't sold at the wet market, where, according to the official story, some dude came there, took the bat, shoved it down his pie hole. Specifically, the horseshoe bat and pangolin, which, coincidentally, they were working on and engineering to make as violent and deadly as possible in the level 3 Wuhan Dr. Fauci financed laboratory from U.S. tax dollars that the Chinese were using, and the communist Chinese government was getting all the information from and reaping the rewards from. What are the rewards? Well, again, as we told you, according to many medical professionals, there is no scientific benefit to doing this kind of research. It's extremely dangerous. There have been many public calls to end it, and according to many people, this was a way of creating a bioweapon that could be used for sinister purposes. We talked about this on Luke Uncensored a couple of videos ago, and the hypotheses, theories of again, whether this came out accidentally or whether it was made on purpose. You should definitely go check out that video for full extensive coverage, because again, we were talking about the lab origins even before this PolitiFact admission years ago, and of course just recently, because this is the most convincing story. There's even intelligence reports of hospital workers at this specific laboratory coming down with an unknown sickness in November of 2019. There's other reports that the Chinese government knew by late November, early December, that there was also leaked diplomatic cables that talked about this level 3 Wuhan Dr. Fauci financed laboratory and its weak safety protocols, which U.S. diplomatic cables called dangerous and extremely unsafe. The World Health Organization, which of course is heavily influenced by the Communist Chinese Party, decided to investigate this by showing up to this laboratory for 3 hours and then leaving, and then publicly declaring that there's no way that this could have started from this laboratory. The World Health Organization also was telling you that there was no airborne transmission, told people not to set up travel bans, and has continuously, routinely been caught lying to the general public. Again, the U.S. diplomatic cables, intelligence reports all detailed extensively the origin of this possible lab leak. Some of the intelligence was leaked. You didn't need to be a genius to put two to two together and understand that this was a possible hypothesis. But the mainstream media followed the agenda, followed the narrative. CNN ran headlines like this saying, quote, Anthony Fauci just crushed Donald Trump's theory on the origins of this sickness. And now, as of just a few days ago, they're reporting that Fauci is, quote, not convinced that this sickness developed naturally, and he's backing an investigation that the World Health Organization supposedly did, but absolutely failed to do a proper job at, since, of course, they just repeat a lot of Chinese communist talking points and play politics with human life that there's huge ramifications and consequences for. There was even a Chinese virologist that fled Hong Kong and with data highlighted how this specific sickness was engineered in a laboratory, and came out and said that the Chinese government knew about this long before they claim they did. As we know, in China, journalists and reporters, along with doctors, were being disappeared for even warning the world that this was happening. Videos with her were censored all over social media. And again, now, after almost a year, it's okay to talk about this, and that's absolutely ridiculous. Shows you how absolutely backwards the ruling establishment is, and how there most likely is some larger con game being played here, since important information is being kept away from the general public. And this matters on many levels, because if you know the origin, if you know how this was created, if you have the blueprint of it, you have a way of dealing with it. There was a number of medical professionals, scientists, and experts that were kept out of the dark, told not even to look into this potential theory. The discussion was stopped, it was halted, and it prevented us from actually dealing with this, because if we knew the origin, we could have actually addressed the situation more accurately and not had loss of life. These people that obfuscated the origin of this are responsible for a huge amount of loss of life. This includes Dr. Fauci, the big tech oligarchs, and the mainstream media that literally have blood on their hands here. And that's not even hyperbolic, it's not even a sensational statement when you understand the larger consequences here of what unfolded. 2, the bigger ramifications is what happens geopolitically with China knowingly letting this sickness get out there to the general public, get out there to the world, block travel domestically while allowing international travel in and out of Wuhan for months, knowing that this existed. Was this an accident or was this deliberate? Again, I talked about this in previous videos in long, extensive analysis, but I think it's safe to say that whatever the circumstance was here, this paints a very dangerous geopolitical perspective that we need to start paying attention to before the implications become even more severe than they are already now. The third larger implications is that big tech is not your friend, along with the quote fact checkers and all the other journalists that perpetrated this lie. All of these people deserved to be fired immediately and never work a day ever again when it comes to journalism or fact-checking anyone. 4, the larger implications is that we need to immediately end gain-of-function research that serves no purpose except for giving American tax dollars for communist China to create bioweapons out of. And the 5th larger implications was that there was a conspiracy here to undermine anyone trying to tell the truth, to get rid of anyone who tried to deal with this adequately and professionally, with a larger obfuscation effort that created a loss of human life and human suffering that have absolutely devastated humanity while only benefiting the billionaire super rich class. This sickness was exploited, and as we're finding out, deliberately let out, whether maliciously or not, through some of the most twisted and corrupted institutions in our society that absolutely, at least deserved to be called out. If you agree, share this video with your friends and family members, but this should infuriate so many people. There's so many things that people are just kept absolutely blind to, totally ignorant of, and it stops with you being an informed human being that is able to make informed consent decisions that are right for you as an individual. Do not let them take that away from you. Independent media is fighting for you as much as we can here, but it's a two-way street of responsibility and personal care that you need to be made aware of in order not to fall victim to the larger billionaire corporatist predator class. Again, this resonates with you. Share it. That's the only way some of these videos are getting out there. YouTube absolutely makes sure that very few people see these videos. It's only you guys actively double-clicking the URL. It's very easy. Double-clicking the URL, sending it. Friends, family members, strangers, someone messages you, you don't even know what they're saying, they're writing you a whole paragraph in your DMs, just send them this video. All the little actions you guys take absolutely matter, and that's why this organization is called We Are Change. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. Stay tuned for more. Love you guys.